Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about is finding zeros. Fairly easy. I'm going to start with just this one problem, and what I want to do first is find the possible rational zeros. What you could look up if you're curious is called the rational zero theorem, which says that the possible rational zeros are the factors of the constant. In this case, the constant is 12. You divide the factors of the constant by the factors of the leading coefficient. And the leading coefficient is going to be a 1 in this case. It's just the number that's in front of, or the coefficient of the highest degree term. So in this case, the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now, it says to divide all of these by the factors of the leading coefficient. Well, if that's a 1, anything divided by 1 will stay the same. So I'm not actually going to write out divide by 1 because that doesn't mean anything. Or it means something, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Then what you want to do is figure out which of these is a 0 already. And the way that you do that, you're going to use synthetic substitution, like that. Plug in, well, this is a 1 and a negative 1, a 2 and a negative 2, 3, negative 3, so on. I'm going to start by trying a positive 1, and if I get a 0 at the end, then that means that 1 is a 0 of the function. So I'm going to start by putting a 1 here, and I'm going to put my coefficients, 1, 2, negative 11, negative 12, and I'm going to use synthetic substitution and see what happens. That's a negative 8. I get negative 20. That means that 1 is not a 0. So I'm going to try negative 1. 1, 2, negative 11, negative 12. Positive 12, 0. Hello, there we go. That means that negative 1 is a 0 of the function. Now, if you look back to 5.5, I'm going to use 1, 1, and negative 12 to write a expression like this. I have x squared plus x minus 12. That I can factor. That's x plus 4 and x minus 3. Now, I already know negative 1 is one of the zeros because I figured that out right here. Now I can find two other zeros by just taking the opposite of those two numbers. What you're really doing is saying x plus 4 equals 0 and solving for x, x minus 3 equals 0 and solving for x. Or you could just take the opposite. It's doing the same thing. So the opposite of plus 4 is negative 4. The opposite of minus 3 is positive 3. So the zeros of that function are negative 1, negative 4, and 3.